What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Dr. Bird's Advice for Sad Poets. This movie is directed by Yaniv. Now, before we begin, hey, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button and join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button and comment below on any video that you watch, including this one. So this really long title movie, Dr. Bird's Advice for Sad Poets, is the story of a character named James. And James is this individual who has anxiety disorders. He feels like he's sick in the head because as we see this movie play out, we see kind of the strangeness of his mind thinking. We see kind of how his view of the world just is shaped differently than everyone else. And we see it in kind of a almost like Walt Whitman type story where he is kind of basically showing his life through like poetry and, you know, the ideas that he just can't, understand being a 16-year-old kid. And in the process, he has a family life that's just kind of, not a good situation. His father, who's played by Jason Isaacs, is a really rough around the edges, brute type individual. And then we have his mother, who's played by Julie Edelman, who is a very sheepish individual. They're always constantly fighting with one another, the father and mother. And it's kind of driven away James's sister, Jolie, which, she's disappeared. He doesn't know because she was his kind of, centered point, and he doesn't know where she's at. He really needs her because he's starting to kind of fall off the deep end because in the process he starts talking to this character named Dr. Bird, who is a pigeon, an invisible pigeon. And that's how he kind of relieves himself and, tells about, his angst and, so on and so forth. And in the process he meets a character named Sophie, who is played by Taylor Russell, and she is an individual who's very outgoing. She's very sweet-natured, but she's in a very bad relationship. And in the kind of context of this movie, James and Sophie start to develop this very interesting dynamic of relationship. They start to, form a kind of boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, and they start to kind of, help each other get through the angst of what high school was like while they go on a quest to find out what happened to Jolie. And so this movie, in a nutshell, is the mind of a 16-year-old person. This is very much the perks of being a wallflower. Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. It's a movie that deals with the kind of psyche and kind of the upsetting nature of what happens when nobody seems to be there for you and you kind of have to struggle through life. Not only talking to, an invisible bird, but the ideas of how you kind of have to find yourself and, end up creating who you are as you move along in life, as we all have done. And so with this movie, going into it, I watched the trailer. I thought the trailer was interesting. I thought it was a very unique movie. I like movies like this because they take the structure of the narrative and kind of throw a fantastical spin on it. In this movie, we see different like movie genres and stuff like that being played out. But we also get a very interesting kind of dynamic, like Words on Bathroom Walls, where we just kind of get into the heads of a particular individual and we see his mind through, narrative and stuff like that. And so I was very interested in the movie, so I'm glad it came out. It was only like $7 on iTunes. So after watching this movie, after kind of, letting it seep into my opinions and thoughts on what is going on, I can honestly and definitely say I really enjoyed this movie. Is it going to be my top 10? Probably not. Maybe honorable mention or something like that. But it's a movie that really wears its heart on its sleeve, or its heart on its shoulder. This character who's played by Jade Zumann, who plays James, is a character that we can kind of see in ourselves as we were younger individuals in our teenage years. Because even though he's going through anxiety disorder, which is a very real issue, the problems that represent how the movie plays out, how the director kind of unfolds the narrative, how he kind of shows it in like this very fantastical nature, is very representative of what it's like to be a 16 or an 18 or 19 or basically just a teenager in general, where everything is just you have no grasp on reality. You were this person, you were this lump of clay that's not molded yet, and you're just kind of trying to deal with the situation at hand. And watching James have to deal with the situation, once again, when you're growing up, the people that may bully you, the people that may be very rich and popular may have problems in their home life. And this is very well represented to what James is going through because he's dealing with, parents that are not really there for him, a sister who was there for him but has disappeared. And it really is a very fascinating kind of interesting dynamic of a story that is taking a character and showing real, true to life problems that a character goes through, and to watch him struggle as, his anxiety with just kind of falling in love with the Sophie character, who is a very well represented character in the movie, is very, very fascinating. Like, there are things in this movie that happen to James that really kind of happened to me as when I was a teenager. Just the idea of talking to a girl or trying to figure out life, trying to deal with your parents, and knowing that the struggles are very, very real, but you have to find a way to get past it and to move on, is very much a representative of what this movie's trying to do. And then you get Sophie, the Taylor Russell character, who comes in kind of an anchor point for James's character, and how she kind of, slowly eats into his mind, his soul, the fact that, they have their first, romantic relationship, his first, romantic kiss, and so on and so forth. And even though James is the main focus of this movie, she is truly almost like an alter ego, or almost the heart on the sleeve of James's character. And once again, Taylor Russell, as an actress, has done a very nice job of portraying someone that, is going through as many issues as James is, but is trying to kind of hold on to everything that she knows, everything that she is. The fact that she's trying to put on a persona that isn't really her. It's really kind of just a true, really interesting experience. So, like I said, Taylor Russell is one of those actresses I think is very underrated and does a really nice job in this movie for what she's having to kind of portray with James as, an individual. So, but like I said, when it comes to these types of movies, like Person Being a Wallflower, and like I said, Words on Bathroom Walls, the idea of using a fantastical realm, the fantastical setting, the idea of using different movie genres and stuff like that is a really, really kind of cool take and a cool aesthetic, and makes it kind of a unique film, because a lot of these teenager romance drama films that deal with heartache and anxiety, sometimes they're a little too straightforward, but when you can make it kind of uplifting, you can kind of make it different, you can kind of show us visuals and aesthetics that truly kind of, like I said, there's a visible bird that James talks to. It truly sets your film apart. So, like I said, I like what the director's doing here. I like how he's representing. And I like the fact that what the director's doing, where nothing in this movie is truly whole. The clarity is not 100% there. And it really feels like you're out of focus. You're never really kind of 100%, in this situation, 100% in that situation. There's a point where David Arquette pops up and nothing's really 100%. And that's what this movie's like true kind of heart is. And kind of true positive is that everything is never 100% until you start to kind of realize who you are. And that doesn't happen until you get into like your college years, or you start going to work and so on and so forth. So with that said, I really did like the movie. I definitely recommend it. It's a movie that has a lot of emotional value, has a lot of great acting in it. Like I said, Jason Isaac, I always enjoy. Julie Edelman is really good. David Arquette's only in it for a few minutes, but he's interesting to watch in the movie. So, but that's it. That's my take on Dr. Bird's Advice for Sad Poets. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you decide to watch this movie. What do you think of it? If you don't decide to watch this movie, let me know what your favorite teen angsty drama type of film is. Like I said, I really like Person Being a Wallflower. But anyways, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming in next. If you like this video, as always, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.